Hello and welcome to another edition of Chiodini's Kitchen, video game recipes made real. Happy New Year! I regret to inform you the Earth has been overrun by aliens, so this week we're making an Advent burger from XCOM 2. So, as you probably know, Advent are the antagonists in XCOM 2, occupying the Earth and generally being tyrannical and bad. As much as your budding resistance movement hates them though, everyone has to admit, they know how to make a good burger.
I don't know where people are getting those damn Advent burgers, but if I find another wrapper stuffed under one of these command consoles, there's gonna be hell to pay.
According to an advert from XCOM 2, there are 3 different Advent burgers to sample. 2 are beef and 1 is chicken, although rumour has it the burgers are actually made from a very different meat entirely. Honestly, the number of times making this show I've had to contemplate sourcing actual human meat, it's really quite worrying. Anyway, the burger I've decided to go with is the Buffalo Chicken Classic, which the game describes as soft melted cheddar cheese melted onto a panko breaded chicken breast rolled in juicy buffalo sauce, made fresh in-house. Sesame bun perfection. So with that in mind, for this recipe you will need a knob of butter, half a cup of hot sauce, a squeeze of ketchup, some celery salt, 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, 2 teaspoons of Worcestershire sauce, a chicken breast, some cheddar cheese, some lettuce, a sesame seed bun, 1 chicken breast, I already said that, an egg, and some panko breadcrumbs, or if you can't find panko breadcrumbs, you can use cornflakes. No, seriously. So step 1 is to start preheating the oven to about gas mark 6, and we're also going to prepare the chicken breast. Okay, so we've got a chicken breast here, and the first step is to butterfly it, which is to say we're going to take a sharp knife, find the thickest part of the chicken, it's probably just along here, and we're going to make a cut and open it out like a butterfly. And the reason for this is that it's going to give us a flatter burger that will be easier to fit in the mouth, which is always a good thing. There you go. That's a butterfly chicken breast, but it's also going to mean that the cooking time is a bit lower because there's less sort of thickness to cook through, which is a good thing. It will help us avoid burning the outside basically and all of those breadcrumbs. Next step is to prepare said breadcrumbs. Let me just move the camera ever so slightly, that'll do. And if you're anything like me, you won't have been able to find panko breadcrumbs, so I'm going to be using the cornflake method, which to be honest I'm quite excited about. So I've got a good handful of cornflakes here. Make it a bit more. What we're just going to do is just, in a hand, just crush them up so they're really nice and small and they start to resemble panko breadcrumbs. So it's going to form a nice crispy exterior to our buffalo burger, just like that. Right, so we've got our butterfly chicken breast, we've got our quote-unquote panko breadcrumbs. The next step is to get a bowl, crack an egg into it. There you go. Put a shell in there, and then we're just gonna beat that gently. So now we're ready to actually prepare the burger. So we grab the chicken, first it goes straight into the egg, make sure you turn it over and dip it on both sides so it's thoroughly coated. Then we need to get our crumbs here, pick up the chicken straight in there, press it down and turn it over. Dust some more on top so that it is thoroughly coated and crumbed. There we go. Come on, stick. There we go. Now we're just going to move that onto a non-stick baking tray. So there you go, that's what it looks like up close. I think panko breadcrumbs would work a lot better than cornflakes, but I was kind of intrigued to see how well this method would work, because the internet honestly promised me that they were a good enough substitute. But I guess the only way to find out without getting serious food poisoning is to cook it. So, into our preheated oven it goes, at gas mark 6, which is about, oopsie, 200 degrees centigrade. And that's going to sit in there for about half an hour or so. And while the burger's cooking in the oven, we need to turn our attention to the buffalo sauce, because the recipe does state that it is made fresh in-house. But don't worry, it's actually very easy. In fact, we've already done it on this show. Here's how. So this is going to be a little bit slapdash versus the last buffalo sauce we made, which was when we made Wriggle Finch's barbecue buzzard wings from World of Warcraft, because we don't need as much here, but if you want to consult the recipe for that one you can get the exact measurements. I'm going to be doing this by eye, so we need a good quantity of hot sauce to start off with, then a little knob of butter, a healthy dash of Worcestershire sauce, there you go, a splash of apple cider vinegar, a bit of celery salt, and some pepper, and finally a squirt of tomato ketchup. So now what we're going to do is just light the stove underneath that and start stirring it all together until everything is combined, the butter has melted, and it's started to thicken up into a nice buffalo sauce. And there you go, just a couple of minutes later you can already see that's reaching about the desired consistency. So I'm just going to turn the heat off under that and then let it sit. Okay. Hey! That looks far better than I expected it would before it went in the oven. I'm actually pretty pleased with that. Neat. So if you remember from the game's description of the Advent Buffalo Burger, it is melted cheddar cheese on a panko breaded chicken burger rolled in fresh buffalo sauce. So I guess I now need to put the chicken in the pan of buffalo sauce, flip it, and then get it back on the baking tray so we can put some cheese on there and start to melt it. So I'm going to put the camera down because this might be a tricky operation. Alright. We didn't lose as much of the breading as I thought we would. I'm just going to put a bit of extra sauce on there because buffalo sauce is delicious. Now it's time for the cheese. I'm actually going to make a bit of room here so I can put on these two halves of the bun and toast them a little bit. Oops, fuck. Right, well, I just scraped off some of the cheese on the underside of the grill, taking that out, but oh well, I'll sort that later. It is time to assemble our Advent burger. So, start off with the bun. Comes the burger. And then you can see in the actual in-game item there's lettuce, so there that goes. Get rid of that veggie. These bits. And then the bun on top. Now you'll notice this bun doesn't have any sesame seeds on it because I couldn't find any sesame seed buns. Never mind, because what I do have at home are some sesame seeds. So while I don't know if this will be quote unquote sesame seed perfection, in fact I'm just going to moisten up the top of this bun a bit, so hopefully they'll cling. There we go. Sesame seed perfection. And that, everybody, is the Buffalo Chicken Classic Advent Burger from XCOM 2. It, to be honest, looks really quite nice. I'm looking forward to eating this, but how will it actually taste? Especially given it's coated in cereal. I've actually come down to floor level to sample this one because it looks like a two-handed job, so I didn't want to keep the camera in my hands. So, Advent Burger. Let's give it a go. That is a really tasty burger. I mean, as I said before, it's buffalo, and you could give me buffalo gravel and I would eat it, but it is really good. The cornflakes work quite well in place of panko breadcrumbs. One thing I would say is because this burger's been rolled in the sauce, they're not as crispy on the outside. They've kind of softened up a bit, which is a bit of a shame, to be honest, because it looked really crispy when it came out the oven. And now, like, you do get kind of, like, you get the odd crunch, and it does taste really good, but it's not like a crispy, crunchy burger. I think if I were going to do this again, I'd just put buffalo sauce on top of the burger, or just in it somewhere, in order to give that flavour. But I think rolling the actual burger in it, because it's not battered, it's just coated in crumbs, it kind of takes away a little bit of the texture. But all in all, that is flipping delicious, and that's got to be one of the best recipes I think we've made. So thank you very much for joining me for another edition of Chiodini's Kitchen. Please do keep those recipe suggestions coming in because they're really, really handy. In fact, the Advent Burger had been requested many times over the last few months, but to be honest, every time I looked at the poster, I didn't realise the font was actually decipherable until like this week when I suddenly went, hang on, I can read this. So I didn't ever make an Advent Burger because I didn't think they were actually described, but they are, and I made one. So yeah, keep the suggestions coming on in, please. There are plenty more videos for you to watch from Eurogamer, framing my face quite nicely now, so do click one of those. Thanks again for watching, and have a lovely day.